Yeah, now, I say it like that because if a man's got one wife, right, and then he finds another wife that it's all about Yah, and he wants to bring her and make her his second wife, right? Say the first wife says no. Now, what's he gonna do? See what I'm saying? Because now, he's the man of his house, right? He just want to bring in one more wife, but the first wife don't want it. Now what? See? So is this Yeshaya chapter 3, right? Where, you understand what I mean? Their pride, their ego, they got to be humbled. Because the man has to rule his house. Like I said in the past, Yada's always been, she speaks her mind. And then she like, but Yoda, whatever you want to do, I'm with you. That's been her demeanor, from day one, and it's so far it's still that way. And it's times when she's been correct, okay? and I was wrong. And when that happens, I tell her, you was right. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's things we're not going to truly know until we get back. And yeah, like I said, brings the governor, has him approach unto him, and then expands his mind, gives him that illumination that's needed to set things right. And like they're supposed to be, to bring forth, these things that are in, contradiction. Like I said, with Dawid, Bathsheba, again, she betrothed, right? She's Uriah's wife, or betrothed. They both were supposed to die according to the law. Now, right? Because again, even if she was raped, they were in the city. They wasn't in the field. From what we can see, they were in the city. See? So according to the law, both of them supposed to die. Well, we know Bathsheba didn't die. Y'all didn't kill her. He took the child, but that was because of what Dawid did to Uriah. Blood for blood. Right? But we see Bathsheba did not, y'all didn't take her. So what's the deal there? Right? Follow what I'm saying? So, like I said in the past, that Jeremiah chapter 30, we're going to have to wait on a lot of these things till we get to the land to truly get the full understanding, and there's only Yah can give that. Because also, YHWH Hadassah, they sent us this thing about intersex. It's called Secret Intersex. It was on Roku. And I watched that here the other day. It's 2 parts. And it's really abominable to me. I mean, it almost gives you, or should I say me, it almost gave me, my stomach was unsettled, nauseous, watching it. What they call it, the Kleinfeld syndrome. I guess that's possibly an Edomite who came up with the procedure, on these children, changing chromosomes, right? And it's really hideous, and it's Daniel chapter 2. They're mingling seeds and messing with the seeds of men and women, these eggs and whatnot in the womb when they first born, or whatever, however they do it. Okay, because they didn't, understand, they didn't actually get into how they did it, you understand, other than these chromosomes, they didn't change them, right? They call it AIS, ambiguous intersex. It is horrible what they've done to these children. And even what's even more horrible, the parents allowed it, The parents is just as bad as the ones who actually put forth these procedures, messing with these children. And again, this is what you basically, you know, as Yaakov Yahadassah brought to me, that's that the 56th chapter of Yeshaya, about what Yah says about the eunuchs. You know, I talked about that when I read that article here. What was it, about 2 years ago? Close to 2 years ago, about these children being worked on at this hospital here called Lurie's Hospital. And like I said, I know they got some other hospitals around the country that's doing the same thing, because over in England, if you watch this, the secret intersex on the Roku, they tell you that they've been doing like at least 2,000 of these children. They fool with at least 2,000. These children are born every year over there in England and the UK. And if they say 2,000, it might be 4. You understand what I'm saying? But they've been doing this a long time, because they showed some of these men look like they was in their 60s. Okay, and it was done to them, so they definitely been doing about 50 years. Okay, I mean, it's hideous. You understand what this man is doing? Mingling seeds, fooling with chromosomes and whatnot. It's horrible. It really is. It's called secret intersex. Okay, on the Roku. Okay, shows for February. Democracy Now! The 8th of February. Talking about militarization of Africa by U.S., right? And also about the brother Amir Locke, who was killed, in his cousin's apartment up there in Minnesota. Also, February the 15th, Democracy Now! They're talking about Afghanistan. And what is that? I'm trying to make out my writing. Freezing. But watch it. It's freezing. Some I can't make out my own writing. But you need to watch it. Afghanistan and something else on there. Democracy Now! The 15th. Democracy Now! The 21st of February. They're talking about who killed Malcolm X, right? And you should find that interesting. There's some more on there too. It looked like Dante Wright. But watch that one too on the 21st. Democracy Now! On the 23rd, nuclear war, and Ahmaud Arbery. And possibly you might have seen last month. It was on Showtime, and it was called White Collar Crime. Everything's gonna be all white. It was on Showtime. It came out last year. It came out just this year, 2022. It's called White Collar Crime. Everything's going to be all white. And if you get a chance, you should watch it. Okay? Very interesting. Okay, I tell you, boy, this whole thing is crumbling right before our eyes, just like y'all said it would. They're trying to mask it over, as I said, the powers that be with their, keep people in fear, keep them scared. It's going to be a nuclear war, and then like I told this Caucasian the other week, it's going to be a nuclear war. It's just not going to happen until Yah is established in the second gathering. I was just telling another person that the other day because he called and was like, he was thinking that the nuclear war might happen before the second gathering. I said, think about it. That Yah is righteous. He's not going to allow that. He's going to give people on the earth a chance, to come to him. You follow what I'm saying? He's not going to do that. You know what I mean? Yah's righteous, right? He's not going to make it where nobody will be able to say, I would have done it if I had known. Right? I would have been about Yah if I had known. Nobody's going to be able to say that. Okay? I mean, just like the brother I told you I've been knowing since 59. He called here right before the last Sabbath, last week. About 40 minutes before the Sabbath began. And he probably thought that the Sabbath had already started because, it was, not quite dark. It was, like I said, about 35, 40 minutes before the Sabbath ended. I mean, before the Sabbath began, right? Because when he called, he was like, yeah, man, am I all right? I said, everything's all right. What's up? You know what I'm saying? Because, he's probably looking and he thinking, like most folks, his mind's been, shaped and formed to think it's sundown. You know what I mean? Because he probably thought I wasn't going to answer the phone. But we talked and he pushed a couple of buttons. He pushed a button or two on me. And, I told him some things, and, maybe he could hear it. You know what I'm saying? But again, there's so many people that just don't understand Yah's thoughts and his words. They're not privy to them. So, when Esau gets people all riled up about war and, you understand, dealing with these nuclear powers, right? They get scared and whatnot. And again, I mean, I can understand them being scared because, again, they see an economic collapse, right? Prices, inflation is going up. And what the West is doing against Russia is really stupid because, you understand, the West, including European nations and America, they get so much wheat from Russia. They get so much oil from Russia. They get so much gas from Russia. Okay? Now, I mean, how stupid is that, right? And these sanctions is, ludicrous because, you understand, like Professor Richard Wolff pointed out here the other week, he said America had sanctions on Cuba for 60-something years. He said Cuba's still doing their thing, right? So what make them think this stuff gonna work on Russia or China or anybody? They had sanctions on Venezuela. Venezuela ain't been able to knock off Venezuela. All they doing is driving these nations up into a group where they gonna be dealing with one another and not dealing with America. Now, so again, when we point out what Yah said he's going to do to these illuminated Amalekite, matter of fact, let me change that. To what he said he's going to do to Esau, the Edomites, because it says in the one chapter about you, right? The whole mount of Esau. That's all of them, from the least to the greatest, males, females, young and old. Yah has stripped them from any wisdom and understanding. Now, quite naturally, if they're against Yah in any shape, form, or fashion, then they stripped. You understand? Total. You understand what I'm saying? But now, if some of these Edomites might have an affinity for Yah, you follow what I'm saying? They might not be as bad, right? You know what I mean? Because they bow Yah. They moving toward Yah some kind of way, right? Maybe that's the descendants of Ruel over there in Genesis 36, right? Okay, Chicago Tribune, February the 3rd. States can use infrastructure law funds for speed cameras. You hear that? So money they sending out, you follow me, from Washington, to these different states, right, for infrastructure, right, They so money hungry. A lot of these states, definitely Illinois, right? They're gonna use some of these funds for infrastructure. They're gonna use them for speed cameras, because they're gonna start putting speed cameras on these expressways, because they need money, and it's always attack the people, right? And the people, again, starving like Marvin, but it's always attack the people. Get the money from the people, okay? Chicago Tribune, February the 3rd. 4 charged in September overdose death of Wire actor Williams. You know, that's the Wire actor Michael K. Williams. So they charged 4, you understand, supposedly with selling him fentanyl. I think it was fentanyl, you know, synthetic, distribution of fentanyl-laced heroin, right? And so they charged him with his death. All right. Now, again, they're not gonna mention possibly that he took the shot. More likely he did. Like I said, he was making this movie he really wanted to make real bad, right? And it was I think they filmed some of it out of the country, so you know he had to take the shot. Okay. Matter of fact, it was in where, let me see, because they arrested one of these defendants in Puerto Rico. Okay. He died September the 6th, you know, in his apartment. His family found him, right? September the 6th last year. So, you know, maybe, who knows, man? Can you trust him? No, I don't think so. So they saying he died from using one of the fentanyl-laced heroin, you know, products that these guys had given him. That's what they claim. You know, that's Michael Williams there. You see him? Okay. So, like I said, you know, we don't know. That's what they claim. But I'm sure he probably took the shot because he was making that movie. But they're not going to tell you that, though, right? Chicago Tribune, February the 3rd. National debt tops $30 trillion for the first time ever, right? America's gross national debt has topped $30 trillion for the first time, an ominous fiscal milestone that underscores the fragile nature of the country's long-term economic health as it grapples with soaring prices and the prospect of higher interest rates. Okay, so you know, you know what I mean? The country's collapsing economically. Okay, collapsing economically. But not only the country, you know, the Western world for sure. You know, like I say, Russia, China, they've been stocking up gold big time. You know, and these sanctions on Russia, they just gonna move into, you know, set up their own mode of economic operation. You follow me? On the other side of the SWIFT, the New York SWIFT, you know what I'm saying? They say they're gonna buy Russia from this and buy Russia from that, but it's not going to have an effect. It's going to backfire. Because when you need different things from a country, now you put the sanctions on them, how much sense does that make? It's kind of stupid. It's like cutting your nose off to spite your face, right? France to offer Pfizer's virus pill. See, now they're coming up with a pill. A pill, a quicker, just pop a pill. You know how people love to pop pills, right? Okay. Tell you, man, it's just so crazy, the things that that they're doing to try to get around, you know, this collapse. That, I mean, you know, because America's got themselves between a rock and a hard place, you know, and basically the Western world, because all these paper currencies is collapsing, you know, because again they tell you that the dollar is the king of currencies, right? It's the you know, what they called it, you know, the reserve currency. But in actuality, it's the SDI. They're issuing these SDIs out of the IMF, International Monetary Fund. They do it secretly, right? But it's really the SDI is the reserve currency now. Okay? Ah, man. You know. So, like I said, so they got appeal, right? Appeal. Pfizer does. You know, you can pop a pill for the pandemic, for the virus, right? Chicago Sun-Times, February the 4th, Amazon raising annual price of Prime to $139. See, because he needs money now so he can keep flying up in the air for 8 to 10 minutes, right? Talking about he going to Mars. He going to Mars, Bezos, right? Yes, they raised it $20 because, you know, annual price of the Prime was $119, so he tacked on another $20, made $139 to get your, you know, Prime rated Amazon at Whole Foods. Now, if you want to get your discount, right? February the 4th, Chicago Tribune, FBI says it bought spyware from an Israeli firm, the Edomites, right? FBI here about Pegasus, the spy, the spyware tool Pegasus from the Edomites over in the land, right? So that they can, you understand, tap people's phones and their computers and everything. You know what I mean? Cyber sleuths, right? And they can tap anybody, spending millions of dollars to line the pockets of a company that is widely known to serially facilitate widespread human rights abuses, possible criminal acts, and operations that threaten the U.S.'s own national security is definitely troubling, said this Ron Dilbert, director of Citizen Lab, the University of Toronto internet watchdog that has exposed dozens of Pegasus hacks since 2016. All right, so that's who hacking people's computers and their Bitcoin wallets and cryptocurrency wallets. They doing everything, you know, hacking their phones and everything. That's the Edomites, right? They want to know what everybody's thinking, what everybody's doing, and how much money everybody's got. Okay, I tell you, boy, the Edomites is scared to death. But again, what did y'all say? How thy hidden things, secret things, sought up and searched out? Oh, Esau, right? They didn't come up with Pegasus. Isn't that what Edward Snowden was talking about? They listening to everybody, tapping everybody. Chicago Tribune, February the 7th. Reports of spyware use on key witness royal Netanyahu trial. Right, so the Israeli police allegedly used spyware against the key witness in the corruption trial of former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli media reported, jolting the trial and shining a light on an Israeli-developed surveillance tool. They using Pegasus on Netanyahu, right? So he claimed a mistrial. I tell you, boy, it's a joke. Chicago Tribune, February the 8th. Israeli bigwigs seeking big profits from legal marijuana. So tell me, what is the people of Yah, supposedly they the people of Yah, right? Selling marijuana, huh? This out of Ashkelon, Israel, right? Says not long ago, Ehud Olmert was trying to lead the Edomites to a historical peace agreement. These days, the former Israeli prime minister is pushing a different message: legalize marijuana. Olmert is among a group of former Israeli leaders and security chiefs who have found new careers in the country's tightly controlled medical cannabis industry. They hope to cash in on the local market and clear the way for the country's major marijuana producers to export. Everything will change dramatically overnight if there will be legalization, said Olmert, an advisor to the startup Univo. In Israeli alone, in Israel alone, he said the market would be unlimited. the Israelis are one of the world's leaders in medical cannabis consumption and marijuana possession is decriminalized. Yet tight regulations govern research, cultivation, procession, distribution, and the sale of cannabis. Those curbs, many say, have prevented turning domestic production into a major cash crop. Over 100,000 Israelis have permits to consume medical cannabis. So they smoking weed all in the land of Israel, but they supposed to be about the Most High, right? Says, boy, they said, according to the health ministry, it's a 16-fold increase in the past decade of people who's smoking marijuana, using marijuana. The boom is in large part thanks to a reform that took effect 2019, making it easier for doctors to prescribe cannabis to people suffering from chronic pain, cancer, PTSD, epilepsy, and other conditions. But they the people of the Most High, right? They selling weed big time. And I know a lot of that is coming over here in Europe too, right? Cash crop. And you don't know what's in it. You know what I mean? Chicago Tribune, February the 9th. Semiconductor shortage shuts down Ford plant again. It had been operating at full production since September, right? So again, I still say this is all planned out because you got Ford and GM and these different automobile corporations that's switching over into electric vehicles. So this is the perfect time when the automobile debt, right? Automotive debt is $1.67 trillion. You understand what I'm saying? Where people got these loans to get vehicles, and they you understand, a lot of them 2, 3, 4 months behind on their payments, right? Because the car companies even stopped repossessing vehicles for a while there because of the pandemic, and you know what I mean? And where they gonna put all of them? You understand? When they repossess them, you follow me? So again, they might have started back to you understand, repossessing them now. I tell you, man, this thing is a mess. State pandemic relief grants to benefit area businesses. Nearly 100 will receive $4.79 million in back to business funds. But again, who gonna buy your product, right? People out of work, right? People, making slave wages, right? Supply chain remains broken. Disruption not expected to end in 22 and could linger for years without fundamental changes. Okay, so supplies, supply chain remain broken because again, these truck drivers, they trying to force them to take the shot. They won't take it. So that's why the supply chain is broken, right? Department of Justice seizes over $3.5 billion in digital currency, right? So I was under the impression they wasn't supposed to be able to get into your digital wallet. The Justice Department announced Tuesday its largest ever financial seizure, more than $3.5 billion, and the arrest of a New York couple accused of conspiring to launder billions of dollars in cryptocurrency stolen from the 2016 hack of a virtual currency exchange. All right, so that ain't too true there that they can't go into your digital wallet, right? Say millions of dollars were cashed out through Bitcoin ATMs and used to purchase gold and non-fungible tokens, as well as more mundane items like gift cards for personal expenses, right? So they able to go into these wallets and steal this Bitcoin. And then they wouldn't buy gold. They bought gold with it, right? Some other items, tangible items, right? Tell you, boy, propaganda. Like we say here, mendacity, the strong odor of mendacity permeates the atmosphere, right? Chicago Tribune, February the 10th. Trudeau, virus rules work, needed. Okay, but some provinces rolled back restrictions amid truck protests. See, they had the convoy protests over in France too, right? Okay. A growing number of Canadian provinces have moved to lift some of their precautions as the Omicron surge levels off, but Trudeau defended the measures the federal government is responsible for, including the one that has angered many truckers. Okay, well, again, this was talking about Canada, not France, right? But they had them over there in France too, because here down it says the main Facebook group for the French demonstrators has attracted more than 300,000 followers in just a few days. Now that's in France. Okay, the same time the one was going on up there in Canada, in Ottawa, right, and in other places in Canada. Okay, says Alberta, Saskatchewan. Wait a minute, say far-right and anti-vaccine groups around the world have amplified the message of the Canadian protesters on social media, raising millions of dollars in online campaigns. Okay? It says, in Ottawa, life continued to be disrupted by the presence of more than 400 trucks blocking roads. Residents got some relief Tuesday night when the drivers of the trucks for the second night refrained from blasting their air horns, a form of protest that was enjoined by a court order Monday afternoon. Okay? They say Alberta, Saskatchewan, Quebec, and Prince Edward Island announced plans this week to roll back some of or all of their precautions, with Alberta, Canada's most conservative province, dropping its vaccine passport immediately and getting rid of masks at the end of the month. Okay, it said despite Alberta's plans to scrap the public health measures, the protests there continue. We've got guys here, they've lost everything due to these mandates, and they're not giving up, and they're willing to stand their ground and keep going until this is done, said protester John Verenuk, a feedlot operator from Coaldale, Alberta. He added, until Trudeau moves, we don't move. Okay? So about 90% of truckers in Canada are vaccinated. That's what they claim. I don't believe that. And trucker associations and many big rig operators have denounced the protest. Yeah, there might be some, but I don't think it's no 90 that's been vaccinated. I don't believe that 1 second. I don't believe that 1 second. Chicago Tribune, February 11th. Coups are happening where democracy is failing. Okay? They show a man over here in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, holds a portrait of Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henri Sandaogo Damiba, who took power in the country after a military coup in January. West Africa is grappling with a wave of military coups over the past 18 months that has some wondering which country could be next. Right, and I wonder who's behind all these coups. Okay, say the latest blow to democracy is the explosion of coups around the world. Weak democratic governments that are failing to deliver are being overthrown. This world phenomenon has been most evident in West Africa. Yeah, and I bet you NATO America's behind all of them, putting their puppets in there, in office. Chicago Tribune, February 11th. U.S. presses Canada to end blockade. CDC offers new recommendations on prescribing opioids. No stuff. You about 30 years, 35, 40 years too late. Also, the U.S. civilian toll in Syria raid may be higher than thought. Okay? Again, they over there bombing Syria, bombing, you understand, Afghanistan, right? Supplying the bombs where the Saudis is bombing Yemen, right? They didn't drop, they do whatever they doing in Iran, right? Doing whatever they doing in Iraq, Huh? I mean, and they doing, what they doing in the continent, so-called Africa. I just read that, right? Causing war and destabilization, right? Just like they trying to do over in Ukraine, destabilization, you understand? Which again, they're causing that by encroaching on Russian territory. And Putin told them a long time ago he's not going to allow them to take control of the Ukraine and put no NATO base in the Ukraine. He's not going to allow it. Russia's not going to allow it. Put that Edomite in power in the Ukraine, the West did, right? Now look what you got. Chicago Tribune, February 11th. COVID-19 situation is worsening day by day. Desperate Afghan hospitals struggling amid surge of cases. So they say. So they say. Chicago Tribune, February the 12th. Canadian judge orders end to border bridge blockade. Right? Pfizer COVID-19 shot for children under 5 on hold. Right? Now I read something just here the other night. They say that these shots for these children 5 to 11 is not doing them really any good. That's what they say. They say it's possibly because they need a stronger shot. Right? So now a lot of these children are going to end up being, chromosomes changed and whatnot. You understand? Like I say, watch that secret intersex on Roku. Also, senators say a secret CIA program collects U.S. data. A secret CIA program, right? Also, 9 officers hurt after ambush shootout at home in Phoenix. Again, I don't know if any of y'all saw that. That was some of us. Well, from what I saw, the one brought the baby out. He ambushed a bunch of police and they ended up killing him. I think they claimed that he committed suicide. I don't believe that. But they said he killed the woman up in there. I guess the mother to the baby that was brought out and set on the doorstep. Chicago Tribune, February the 12th. U.S. conservatives cheer on Canadian trucker protest. Okay. Hannity, other news outlets take up cause of those blocking border crossings. Because they said they ain't taking the shot. They say they don't care if other people want to take it, that's fine. But they talk about freedom. It should be freedom of choice. I shouldn't have to take the shot if I don't want to, and I shouldn't be penalized if I haven't taken it. You're going to stop me from being able to pursue my livelihood to where I feed my family and myself and take care of my family and myself, right? You going to stop that because I won't do what you want me to do? I won't take a shot? So you got this, protests all in various places in the world. Western Europe, here, right? And I'm sure other places as well. Chicago Sun-Times, February 13th. California accuses Tesla of alleged discrimination at Bay Area plant. So that's Elon Musk, huh? Tesla, they discriminating against people of color. Okay, right? But again, huh? A lot of that on Israel, that's the curse, huh? Chicago Sun-Times, February 13th. Canada bridge standoff eases, but protests continue. Okay, this is. They say it was at least 4,000 demonstrators at that Ottawa protest. That and if they say 4,000, it probably was maybe more like 10, maybe more. Okay. Chicago Tribune, February 13th. Canada border blockade recedes as cops move in. Also, New Zealand aims old earworm at new crowd. Okay, because they was rising up in New Zealand protesting. Okay, big time. We saw it on RT. Also, Paris police fired gas to disperse banned virus rules protest. Paris police fired tear gas Saturday against a handful of demonstrators on the Champs-Élysées Avenue who defied a police order by taking part in a vehicle protest against various restrictions inspired by Canada's horn-honking truckers. See, I tell you, they rising up everywhere. Okay, over in Japan, Japan is considering easing its stringent border controls amid growing criticism that the measures which have banned most foreign entrants, including students and business travelers, are hurting the country's economy and international profile. Okay. Putting people out of work, causing more trepidation and more problems. Yeah, so February the 13th, it says most millennials think they'll never earn enough money to have nice things. You hear that? Most millennials think they'll never earn enough money to have nice things. Most millennials say their current financial situation is so dire that they'll never have the things they want in life. About half also say that my finances control my life and worry that whatever amount of money they can save won't last anyway, according to Morning's Consult's latest State of Consumer Banking and Payments report. 72% of the millennials generation is at least somewhat concerned that their financial situation is going to prevent them from having what they want in life versus 62% of all U.S. adults. Okay, so there you go. I mean, it's a nice article. I really don't have to read any more. You follow what I'm saying? This is what's going on, right? Economic collapse. You follow me? And that's why, again, the West is attacking, you know, in the sense of encroaching on Russia, threatening Russia by putting NATO-based military, you know, missiles, nuclear missiles in the Ukraine. Okay, again, Russia's not going to allow it. So again, as the economic situation collapses in the West with the fiat currency, again, you know, take you to war to distract you, right? And then to blame any economic problems on Russia, try to blame it on somebody else, make them the scapegoat, right? But again, it's going to backfire. It can't do anything but backfire. And that's the lack of understanding. That's the wisdom and the understanding that Yah is taking out of them, right? But at the same time, as I've said, you know, the last, what, year and a half, 2 years now, you understand they got the economic chokehold. It's gotten tighter around the people's necks of the world, right? Because again, you understand the fiat currencies are collapsing, okay? They're collapsing, right? And as they collapse, inflation's setting in because they just QE it, quantitative easing, right? Just printing paper, printing paper, printing paper, printing paper, devaluing whatever paper they've got out here. So now you see an inflation set in. They say inflation 7.5%. If they say 7.5%, it's probably more like 15 to 20. And plenty of people see it when they go grocery shopping. They see it when they go to get gas. They see it when they get their gas bill, the heat bill, right? I mean, you know, because here I'm paying almost about $200 something more than I was paying last year per month. See, so this, you know, I know you see it out there, right? So the currency is collapsing. You understand what I'm saying? And now they want to move everybody to cryptocurrency, right? Again, where they can, you have no, just like with the paper, you have no control, but with the paper, you still have some privacy. With cryptocurrency, you don't have control or privacy. See? And they can go in your wallet anytime they want. I don't care what these cryptocurrency people advocates say, like Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert and all that nonsense. You know what I mean? They can go in there because they control all this stuff. Now, you follow me? You understand? See, so again, you don't have anything. It's all, you know, it's all in the air, you know, cyberspace. You don't have anything tangible with cryptocurrency, right? So now, what do you have? Nothing. They can shut you down. They can just shut down you know, the sites. right? The juice, turn it off, shut it down. I mean, they control all this mess, right? You know what I mean? Just like they took our tea, like I said, they done blocked our tea off a lot of these countries, you know, because they don't want people to hear the real deal. You understand what's really going on? You follow me? And here the other day, Michael Maloof, Ben Norton, young Caucasian boy, running it down about this Ukraine situation. Richard Wolff, like I said last week, he talking to, you know, these sanctions not going to hurt Russia. You understand what I mean? You cutting your nose off to spite your face. It's just going to hurt America and make prices, as we see, getting higher on Americans and the Western, you understand, European countries. So now, what you doing, right? It's ridiculous. Chicago Tribune, February the 14th, truck protest ends at key crossings, right? Now, check this out. It said, fake virus testing sites pop up in several states. Operators gathering patients' personal info. Now, what they doing now? Huh? Because they gonna go in and hack their bank accounts and get their personal information and steal their money? Fake virus testing sites popping up. Now, you know what I mean? I tell you, the scam. Every time you look around, some scams going down, right? Chicago Tribune, February the 14th. U.S. gas prices spike. Huh? The average U.S. price of a gallon of regular grade gasoline spiked 15 cents over the past 3 weeks to $3.55 per gallon. Okay? Now it's higher than that. Okay? Also, Greece protests. Greek farmers, taking a page from the Canadian Truckers Protest Handbook, say they are determined to shut down all the country's major highways to protest rising energy costs. Okay? Now, tell you that because all of this, you know, paper currency is collapsing, especially in the West. You know, talked about it in the past, right? All them Southern European nations over there, they all messed up. Debt-wise, Ireland, Greece, France, England, you know what I'm saying? Italy, Spain, they all, the papers is foul. Okay? Now, see? So, Chicago Tribune, February the 15th. Tighter voting rules off to a rocky start in Texas. Rejected ballots worry seen in the first primary of 22 because they didn't change that. Right? You understand? Making it harder for people of color, right, to vote. Talking about you got to have your last 4 digits of your social security number or your driver's license number. People don't know that, you know what I mean? Some people don't have driver's license because they, you know, you understand, they can't even afford a vehicle. Now, you understand what I'm saying? And if you don't have it on your last registration, you can't vote on this one. So now, you know, it's all nonsense, right? Like votes really count anyway. Okay. Also, the West mega drought, driest in at least 1,200 years. Okay. See, now they say they show this a kayaker paddles in California's Lake Oroville amid low water levels due to a mega drought that has gripped the American West for the past 22 years. This is the driest it's been in 1,200 years. But this drought has gripped the West the last 22 years. Now, what did y'all say over there in the 42nd chapter of Yeshaya? I read the back end of 42nd chapter earlier, right? You understand? The reason why, right? Yah's given Jacob or Israel, the nation, to the curse, because what? And the land of Israel to the robbers, the Edomites, as it is this day. Why? Because our forefathers wouldn't obey the law, and that's why we've got to obey the law today. See, this is why Esau has gone into the book and inseminated these discrepancies, right? These contradictions. And we have to ferret them out. We have to see. You understand what I'm saying? Because again, like I said, we see a law of 2 wives, but we don't see a law of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And when we really take a look at Dawid, what happened to him? And why? Huh? Because of a woman. And he already had, what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wives already when he got Bathsheba, right? Isn't that right? But he lusting after her. So now, is that Yeshaya, chapter 3? Women rule over you, right? It ain't necessarily talking about a woman in your house telling you what to do. We know that happens without question, right? But is it because man wants these women that he see, you understand, he lusting? That's what Dawid was doing, lusting. Messed him up, didn't he? You understand? Brought the sword into his house, caused a lot of problems. Deaths, right? And shortened his days on this earth to 70 years. And we see it in his in his son that came on the throne after him, Solomon. And wasn't that his problem? He was worse than his father. And we see that, don't we? Like I said, don't we see these things today? With these men who have all these women, because they you understand, can afford them, or you understand, the women gravitate to them because they're charismatic and they got things, right? Like I said, I talked to this one brother, and he told me he had 2 women in the past. He loved them both the same. I didn't tell him he was a liar because I didn't want to cause no adversity. You understand what I mean? But he was hostile. He couldn't look at the situation objectively. You follow me? Now, I brought it to another brother, right, who's got 4 or 5 women. You understand what I mean? And when I brought it to him, I said, yeah, I said, and you only really care about one. I mean, you might, care about them other ones to a degree, but it's one that you care the most about. He got quiet. He got quiet. You know what I'm saying? I told him, I said, you ain't got to tell me which one it is. I said, but you got one that you care about more than all the rest of them. He was quiet, okay, because he know that's the truth, right? You understand what I mean? Another brother, he was, you understand, he's trying to make a case for more than one wife, and his wife that he got now, she in the back. Like I said, there's a lot of women, they love that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to just see this thing truthfully, in reality, right? Like I said, when you look at that Yeshaya chapter 3, right? Women rule over you again. And what does it say about the daughters of Zion? And their haughtiness, their arrogance, their ego. So he's talking about humbling them, right? Scab in the head, hair falling out. Humbling them, right? So now, again, though, but you understand, this Yeshaya chapter 4, 7 wives to 1 man, or 7 women, they're wives. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? Is that really the deal? So again, we got to wait and see. Because you cannot refute our progenitors, right? 1 wife. Adam, 1 wife. Abraham, basically 1 wife. We, at a time, right? Like I said, that Hagar situation, that was Sarai's man. And she I know she she regretted later on that she did it. We see that in the book, right? But after Sarai transitioned, then he got Keturah. That over there in Genesis 25 about him having concubine, that's some nonsense there. Because Abraham, Yah's gonna allow us to see any sons he had, because they turned into nations. We see that, don't we? Isaac, unequivocally, he had 1 wife, Rebecca. That's it. And we see how much Yah blessed him more than he blessed his father, Abraham. Isn't that right? I mean, as far as, blessings, we can see that. I mean, because Isaac, Yah was blessing him so tough, the people were so jealous of him, he had to keep moving till he found room enough for himself, right? Then we see, Isaac later on got a little off center, started eating, more than likely eating that fat with the meat, and that's when he got, as Yosha said, diabetic blindness, more likely than not. But then he had to get himself together, because he ended up overliving Abraham, did he not? I mean, you understand, more than likely we know Rebecca read him when he brought it to Rebecca after the blessings went down. That boy wasn't Esau. And then what Rebecca, she went at it with both feet. You know what I mean? You know, she bred him. You understand what I'm saying? And you know Esau ain't about nothing. You only gonna bless him because he can go out there and bring you your addiction, that savory meat that you love. You eating the fat, that's why you can't see. And now, more likely from that, Isaac got himself together because he was still on the scene 20 years later when Jacob comes back blessed. And Isaac seeing it, right? Then Isaac lived another 23 years after Jacob, Israel returned. And his name changed to Yisrael, right? Isaac lived another 23 years. Like I say, he lived to be 180. So he had to get himself back in harmony with Yah. Again, you know, Exodus chapter 34. Yah is long-suffering, very merciful, right? You understand? But by no means clearing the guilty, right? You got to answer for what you do to whatever degree Yah so states. Yah don't put away sin. He judges you for it. And I'm using that terminology, what Esau stuck over there in 2 Samuel chapter 12, you know, in regards to David. Yah didn't put away his sin. Yah judged him for what he had done. Like I said, but we don't see Bathsheba dying, right? So something's amiss somewhere in regards to the law. You know, Esau done tampered with something, right? We can see that. Now, you see that there? You see how dry that is? You see that headline? Huh? West mega drought dries in it, huh? In at least, what does it say? 1,200 years. But it's been a drought now for 22 years. 22 years in the West. You see how it broke up and cracked up that earth is? Huh? That's dry. Okay? Now, you follow me? And when I point that out, huh? Just go over there to Yeshaya chapter 42. What did y'all say? I'm going to dry up the pools? 42nd chapter Yeshaya. Now, 22 years, that's 2000. Right? That's when it started, 2000. Right? The monarchies will sprinkle when? September 2004. Huh? Yah righteousness was established when? 1986. Right? So when you go to 42nd chapter Yeshaya, read it from the top. Behold, my servant, mine elect, in whom my soul delights. I put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall not fail nor be discouraged. Huh? Right? And the owls wait for his law. You know, he shall not quench a smoking flax or bruise a reed. Right? Just keep reading that 42nd chapter. Read it out. Read the whole chapter. 42nd chapter Yeshaya. Before it spring forth, I tell you of it. Right? Chicago Tribune, February 15th. After rental aid, tenants still in bind. Landlords refuse to take money, evict occupants anyway. Okay? See? So people getting rental aid from the government and they still, it's not enough. And the landlord still evicting them because they know even when you get the rental aid, that's going to end. You still going to have to, you still ain't going to be able to pay them rent. So, hey, you still got to go. So I can get somebody in here that can pay me regular. I can see they got a job. Okay, or I see they making enough money to be able to pay me because we know landlords have raised their rent tremendous. I got an article about that. I'm going to get to it in a little while. Okay. Also, economic strain drives doctors to flee Turkey. Okay. Doctors say they ain't making enough money over in Turkey, right? Anxiety rose after an assistant doctor died last fall when she plowed her car into the back of a truck after a long shift. Then there were the growing cases of violence. An assistant doctor abandoned his career after a patient stabbed him in the stomach and hand. A pregnant nurse was hospitalized after being kicked in the belly. The worsening economy and soaring inflation, which has reduced some doctors' salaries close to the level of the minimum wage, has brought many to a tipping point, driving them in growing numbers to search for better opportunities abroad. Okay, that's one of them Turkish doctors right there. Okay, they trying to go somewhere where they can make more money. Okay? And again, about this rental aid, say a day before she was due to be evicted in November from her Atlanta home, Chanel King heard that she had been awarded about $15,000 in rental assistance. She could breathe again, but then the 43-year-old hairdresser got an upsetting letter last month from her landlord saying the company was canceling her lease in March, 7 months early, without any explanation. She still got to go. Now, see, because you know what they're going to do? She got to go, and they're going to raise the rent. And like I said, I'm getting to that article. Okay, that's what a lot of these landlords is doing. Chicago Tribune, February the 15th. Avocado import ban has Mexican president upset. Action taken after threat to U.S. safety inspector and just before Super Bowl. Right? Mexico City. Mexico's president said Monday the U.S. suspension of avocado imports and recent environmental complaints are part of a conspiracy against his country by political and economic interests. By political or economic interests. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador put forward the conspiracy theory after the U.S. suspended imports of Mexican avocados on the eve of the Super Bowl following a threat against U.S. plant safety inspector in Mexico. See, one of the plant inspectors was threatened because he over there probably trying to get a gapper. You know what I'm saying? The measure was due to years of words that drug cartel violence in the western Mexico state of Oaxaca, where gangs extort money from avocado growers by threatening to kidnap and kill them, has spilled over to threats against U.S. inspectors. All right, so again, you know, they probably going to raise the price too. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, avocados is high. Okay, I got 3 avocados. What was it here? Week 4 last, I got 3 of them. Let me see. No, last week. I got 3 avocados, right? A thing of orange juice and 2 potatoes. It was $13, you know, and some change, almost $14. 2 potatoes, 3 avocados, thing of orange juice. I mean, you know, okay. You know what I'm saying? The avocados is like $2.60 something a piece. Okay? So, you know, inflation. Dollar don't go real far anymore at all. And it's going to continue to deteriorate in what it can buy. Chicago Sun-Tan, February the 16th. Prince Andrew to settle suit linked to Epstein. I figured that was coming. I think I even said that, right? Last month before last, right? So he settled. They don't give the amount, disclose the amount he settled, right? But he went on and settled with this, what's her name? Giuffre. You know what I mean? Virginia Giuffre. Okay, you understand? He settled with her. Supposedly put some money in some undisclosed charity that she's got, right? And she got so much money. Okay, like I say, they don't divulge how much, but he went on and you know, settled. Said this Mark Stevenson, an international lawyer, estimated Andrew paid around $10 million to settle, having gotten the cash after selling a ski chalet at a fire sale price. He speculated the cash would be split into 3 unequal portions, with Giuffre, her lawyers, and charities taking a piece. Okay? No, because he did it. You know what I mean? Wasn't no way to get out of that. Now maybe he can go back to being Prince again. Okay? Chicago Tribune, February the 16th. Faith leaders oppose exemptions. One cause shot a gift of God for the good of the community. Okay? Yeah, you just check this out. Okay? Look at that. Now that's the Pope, right? Faith leaders oppose exemptions. They for people getting the shot. Okay? You follow me? And one caused the shot, a gift of God for the good of the community. All right? You tell me they not controlled by the Illuminati Edomite. Say by the thousands, Americans have been seeking religious exemptions. You hear that? The thousands, right? And it's probably the millions, right? Seeking religious exemptions in order to circumvent COVID-19 vaccine mandates. But generally, they are doing so without the encouragement of major denominations and prominent religious leaders. From the Vatican, Pope Francis has defended the vaccine as the most reasonable solution to the pandemic. The Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America declared categorically that its followers would not be offered religious exemptions. You hear that? Robert Jeffries, the conservative pastor of a Baptist megachurch in Dallas, voiced similar sentiments. Okay? Now, they want you to get the shot, especially come on back in there and drop that money in the tray. Okay? You follow me? I tell you, boy. Ottawa's police chief resigns amid criticism over protests. Okay? Because the people were so upset. Somebody got to take the weight for this, protest in the capital, Ottawa, Ontario, right? So the police chief resigned, right? Probably had enough retirement time up there anyway, you know what I mean? Okay. Also, sea level may rise a foot along U.S. shore by 2050. You hear that? Babylon is sinking. Prophecy, Jeremiah chapter 50 and 51, right? It's sinking. Definitely chapter 51, Jeremiah, right? Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, is sinking. Okay, sea level may rise a foot along the U.S. shore by 2050. I don't even think it's going to make it to 2050, but we'll see, right? We'll see. I don't think America got that long in it. I don't think it's got no 28 years, but we'll see. Chicago Tribune, February the 17th. Tensions rise in Ottawa as police warn truckers. Blockade continues despite Emergencies Act from Trudeau. Because, he started threatening them. Say, we're going to attack your money. Any money you got in the bank, we're going to take it. We're going to freeze it and take it. And they probably did that to a certain extent, right? Make them pay for all of this confusion, Also, officials, devastating floods, mudslides kill scores in Brazil. And devastating floods in Brazil. Okay? Chicago Sun-Times, February the 18th. Sharpton, Amir Locke, this is Al Sharpton, this is what he said, right? Amir Locke not guilty of anything but being young and black in America. Again, black has nothing to do with it. Okay? He's an Israelite. He under the curse. And if he a descendant of Jerusalem, he under a double curse. Right? And that very well could be, he gets in his cousin spending the night, got his right to carry gun card on him and his gun. Police open the door with a key. We saw this on Democracy Now! Come in. They got Kevlar on, automatic weapons. He raised up and all of a sudden he just see probably, some gun. He had his gun in his hand. They shot and killed him. Sound like Breonna Taylor, right? And her boyfriend. Or husband, Ottawa truckers hold their ground as police pour in, right? So you understand, they was only gonna allow them to do that for so long, and then they made the truckers come on up out of there, right? Chicago Sun-Times, February the 18th. United pilot attendant will suffer under vaccine mandate, court rule. See, so the United pilots lost their appeal to the courts to keep, the United Airlines from penalizing them from not taking the shot. You follow what I'm saying? A pilot and a flight attendant for United Airlines will suffer irreparable harm under the airline's COVID-19 policy that makes them choose between getting vaccinated in violation of their religious objections or going on unpaid leave, a divided federal appeals court panel in New Orleans ruled Thursday. There you go. Okay? You understand? And the stock market hammered on Ukraine tensions, because again, the stock market is collapsing more and more. Again, they steadily siphoning off people's 401k and pension monies and investment money's in the stock markets. You know, generally the stock market comes down all at once. What they doing now is coming down like on a stair step. Okay? It just keeps coming down more and more and more. All right? Taking those people's investment money because they're not going to pay them. These people that got these stocks, money's invested in these stocks, you understand, if you don't come up out of them, you're going to lose it. Okay? Chicago Sun-Times, February the 19th, Canadian crackdown. Police arrest at least 100 in Ottawa. And it ended up, last total I heard was 170 plus. Okay? So, you know. Chicago Tribune, February the 18th. Truckers holding ground in Ottawa despite threats. Police chief plans in place if protesters keep flouting order. Okay? Tell you, boy, this thing is a mess. Nashville preps for shift to the right. New congressional maps place GOP firmly in control because they didn't change the whole voting rights situation. This is in Tennessee, right? So the new congressional maps place the Republicans in control. Now, you know, what kind of system is this where you can change voting rights? I mean, you already had a 50-year expiration date on it from 1965. You know, we talked about that in 2015. It expired. The Voting Rights Act. Okay, I remember Dick Gregory said, "How you gonna have an expiration on civil rights?" You know what I'm saying? And voting rights. How you have an expiration date on that? They both expired in 2015. 50 years. Come on, man. Chicago Tribune, February the 18th. Experts see avocado price rise, damage to Mexican producers. See, I thought they just gonna raise the prices. That's all that was about. We're gonna tag on some more money because we know avocado. First of all, avocados are so nutritious, right? They don't want people eating them anyway, especially the poorest people. They don't want you getting nutrition. You understand? That's why in these schools they feed them a bunch of garbage. You understand what I'm saying? These children, they feed them a bunch of garbage. See, and they don't care about them getting any food. Look at how they stopped the Black Panther breakfast program. You understand? And J. Edgar Hoover branded the Black Panthers the most dangerous organization in America. And here they are feeding children, which the government wouldn't even do. Huh? And I ain't saying the Black Panthers was feeding them the top line food. You know, they was doing the best they could. But a lot of them children wasn't getting no food at all. No breakfast at all. You understand what I'm saying? Going to school hungry. You follow me? And how can you think if you're hungry? I mean, it's bad enough. I mean, they was feeding them bacon and eggs, the unclean stuff, but, something better than nothing, right? I guess. You understand what I'm saying, right? Also, no new deal on opioid lawsuits, right? You understand? Because you got this Purdue Pharma, huh? You understand? And these big drug companies, they like, you going to do it the way we want it or we not making no deal, huh? You know what I mean? Can the drug dealer determine how they supposed to deal, how they supposed to be prosecuted or, you understand what I'm saying? They going to determine how you can be able to prosecute them or not. That's the drug dealers. Does that happen with the drug dealers out here in the neighborhoods? They get caught, they get put away for 40 years, right? All their money taken, right? But these big drug dealers like Purdue Pharma and J&J, Johnson & Johnson, you understand what I'm saying? They get caught and they get to dictate the terms on how they going to get prosecuted, if they get prosecuted at all. How much money they going to pay. If you understand, if they pay any. You understand what I'm saying? You let one of us, you understand, somebody that look like me, you understand, sell drugs, and then escape to France or England, you know what I mean? Or Italy, and see what happens. You know what I mean? If I was to sell drugs and escape and get over there to Europe, with $2 million, you think they wouldn't have me extradited back here? And whatever money I got frozen, I couldn't even deal with it? Huh? So what's wrong with Purdue Pharma? How come they don't do that to them? The Sacklers, the Edomite family, selling one of the biggest drug dealers in the world. And the world has ever known, possibly, you understand what I'm saying? Other than the British East India Company. Some more, Rothschild, Warburg, Schiffs, Oppenheimers. Come on. Chicago Tribune, February the 18th. The Edomites, Israelis, rips UN panel. The Edomites on Thursday formally announced it would not cooperate with a special commission formed by the United Nations top human rights body to investigate alleged abuses against the Palestinians. Saying the probe and its chairwoman were unfairly biased against the Israelis. Like I say, they're killing Palestinians every day. But you don't hear no big squawk about that. If you hear it at all. Right? The Saudis over there bombing the Yemenis, people in Yemen, every day. Been doing it for years now. Edomites over there bombing Syria, over in Syria for the last 6-7 years. All right? So how come they not ostracized? I mean, you had Saudis that were in the 9/11 bombers. It was, hooked up with that. But the Saudis not, they not dealt with according to that. I mean, you understand? But America is behind the Ukraine. You know what I mean? You see how hypocritical this stuff is? How nonsensical it is? See, and they got their propaganda machine churning out the propaganda constantly, bombard. And if you have an outlet with RT, they trying to shut RT down so you can't hear, the other side of the situation. Same thing with the pandemic, right? Chicago Sun-Times, February the 19th. Fed official pushes back on fast rate hikes. Again, it's not going to do them any good, right? Because they can't raise interest rates because the bond market is going to collapse. All they can do is keep QE, quantitative easing, printing paper, which is devaluing the paper already out here, which is why you see inflation. Stuff getting high. You need more dollars to buy whatever, right? You understand what I'm saying? Because where $1 used to buy, now you need $2. Where you need $2, now you need $4. Where you needed $4, now you need $8. Inflation, because the dollar is becoming more and more worthless. Not only the dollar, you understand, the euro, all the paper currencies becoming more and more worthless. Definitely in the West, right? Also, U.S. paves way for resumption of Mexico avocado exports. Little old bitty article telling you that, right? You follow me? But it's probably going to cost more money. Probably ain't going to be long for one avocado going to be up to $3 now. Okay? Chicago Tribune, February the 19th. Canadian police move to clear blockade in capital. At least 70 arrested, vehicles towed, and some trucks depart. Yeah, but like I said, last toll I saw was like 170 was arrested. Also, second deadly storm in 3 days kills 9 in northern Europe. There's some major storms over there, right? And this is all because them storms is costing them money and devastation, right? Money, right? And deaths. Chicago Tribune, February the 19th. Greek farm protests a signal of Europe's inflation anxiety. Farmers and their tractors line up Sunday during protests in Greece. Tarnavos, Greece. Farmers are seeking additional government aid to counter high energy prices. Okay? I mean, they got it's trucks as far as you can see. Says out of Tarnavos, Greece. In Greece, rural heartland tractors have become a symbol of anxiety. For weeks, they have been parked along the country's highways, their owners threatening to block traffic. Farmers are desperate for additional financial aid to cope with surging energy prices that are pushing up their costs for fuel and fertilizer, posing a sudden threat to their livelihood. Said take fertilizer. Last year we were paying $570 a ton. Now it's as if we were buying a piece of land. It's $1,930 to $2,040 a ton. Okay, four times as much as it was last year. Okay, this is a 25-year-old farmer named Cacalus, okay, from Central Greece, who has joined the protest. So you paying like 4 times as much as you was paying for fertilizer last year this year. Look at all them trucks. Okay, now that's what's going on. Like I say, the paper currencies are collapsing. Okay. Because again, that's what, you understand, the illuminated Edomite, when they printed up the, the IMF, the illuminated Edomite on this side of the world, anyway, in the West, printed up that $650 trillion worth of, let me see, was it trillion? No, not trillion. $650 billion worth of SDRs. And they were sending out, like 5 billion SDRs to Greece and 5 billion or 7 billion to Italy. They were sending them out to different places. You understand? To shore them up, try to keep the game going. Like I said, the balloon losing air, they blow so much air back in the balloon, try to keep the balloon up. See, but it's too many holes, too many holes in it. You see what I'm saying? See, so between a rock and a hard place. Chicago Sun-Times, February 20th. Saudi Arabia keeps lid on oil output as U.S. gas prices rise. Because a barrel of oil now is a little over $100 now. It's gone up tremendous. And they talk about it's going to probably go up to around $150 a barrel. Now, that's yet to be seen. You know what I'm saying? But I know you've seen it at the gas pump. Okay? Because the cheapest I getting gas now is like $3.35 a gallon. Okay? Most places around here in the city, it's close to it's right at $4, $3.99, $3.89, $3.99, $4.04 a gallon. That's significant. Okay? That's significant. Okay? Says Saudi Arabia is signaling it isn't willing to pump more oil and won't push for changes to an agreement with Russia and other producers that has kept a lid on oil production levels. See, because again, Saudi Arabia, they only got stored oil. They ain't got no pumping oil. All right? But you don't ever hear about the oil wells in Iraq, Kuwait, and Libya. What about the oil over there? Okay, because I scanned this article and they not mentioning. They not mentioning those places. You know what I mean? They still got oil in those places. Huh? So what's the real deal? Right? See, in Venezuela, they got the most oil and the best oil on the planet. Iran got plenty of oil, but America got sanctions on them. The America and the West, they got sanctions on them, right? So Russia's dealing with them, huh? China. Chicago Sun-Times, February the 20th. Over and out. Canadian police arrest 170 in trucker occupation of Ottawa. Okay? See? Also, it says modeling agent close to Epstein found dead in French jail. Okay, this is out of Paris. A modeling agent who was close to disgraced U.S. financier Jeffrey Epstein was found dead Saturday in his French jail cell, just like Epstein, right? Where he was being held in an investigation into the rape and sex trafficking of minors, according to the Paris prosecutor's office, right? Paris police are investigating Jean-Luc Brunel's death at the historic La Sante prison in Paris. Victims of his alleged abuse described shock and dismay that the 75-year-old, a well-known model scout in the 1980s and 90s, who ran different agencies in Paris and New York, will never face trial. Now, they take him out like Epstein, one way or the other, take him out the back door, or take him out literally and put him in a pine box. Bird flu found at 4th Indiana turkey farm. Little old bitty article. You see this? You see that down there at the bottom? You see that little old bitty article there? Huh? That lets you know they really don't want they really don't want you to see it, huh? Bird flu found at 4th Indiana turkey farm. Avian influenza has been detected in a 4th commercial poultry flock in southern Indiana, right? Officials have begun euthanizing the 15,200 birds at the latest farm to prevent the spread of the disease. So again, like I said in the past, right? They you understand, hitting people with this, you understand, with these viruses through the food. You know, Yosha told me they putting it in lettuce and squash and some other vegetables, right? You understand what I'm saying? But I look at it, you understand, I think I said this here the other year before that. I know they probably putting it in the turkeys and the chickens and the chicken eggs, all the unclean mess that we're not supposed to be eating, humans not supposed to be eating if they live in the way of Yah, eating according to his menu anyway. Okay? Because here, what was it, about 4 years ago, I read the article, you understand, about the turkeys piled up. I showed it. Turkeys piled up on this turkey farm, dead. They was all white, just like these chickens are all white now. And they was dead because they what? Pumping them with this stuff. Initially, they couldn't take it. You understand what I'm saying? So they died off. But eventually you get some can take it. They carrying the virus in them. People eating them. And then they got the virus in them. These people is wicked, okay? Like I said, you watch that Secret Intersex on Roku. It's horrible. You know, I watched the first hour. The second hour, I couldn't stomach it. I had it on. I was listening to it. I was moving around here and I was listening to it because I didn't want to see it. You understand what I mean? Because it's nauseating, okay? But you need to check it out. Secret Intersex. That's the name of it on Roku. And they've been doing this stuff a long time, fooling with people's chromosomes. Again, Daniel chapter 2, mingling seeds, changing, you know, females to males, males to females. It's horrible. Frankenstein stuff, okay? Chicago Tribune, February 20th, U.S. dollar is in danger. Huh? Regarding bad feelings about a good economy, Steve Chapman's, sound like an Edomite, right? Comments regarding our good economy are misguided. He trumpets a growing gross domestic product augmented by unprecedented inflation and spiked by previous years of COVID-19 shutdowns. Current wage growth has been eradicated by higher inflation, and the labor participation rate remains at pre-COVID-19 levels. The national debt is over $30 trillion with no end in sight, well over 120% of GDP, gross domestic product, right? And our trade deficit continues to expand. Our government, with the willing help of the Federal Reserve, has thrown money into the economy like gas on a bonfire, making your stockbroker look like a genius. The U.S. economy is like your Uncle Samuel, who has a big boat, 2 homes, and fancy cars, and borrows more and more to live this lifestyle, digging an ever deeper financial hole as he lauds his success. Meanwhile, hard-working savers are rewarded with low money market interest rates and frowned at for their lack of financial acumen. The economy cannot continue to function in this manner without the frightening collapse of the U.S. dollar. Our country was built on productivity and savings. This current scenario is rooted in an increased debt and transformation from manufacturing to finance and services. I would love to join Chapman in singing a happy tune, but my heart isn't in it. Now that's the real deal. This is a, you know, a voice of the people. A person wrote this in. His name is Brad Johnson. He out of Crete, Illinois here, right outside south of Chicago. Okay? You follow me? Now he's seeing the real deal. Okay? I got another one similar that I'm gonna read to you in a minute. Okay? Chicago's Tribune, February the 19th. Here it is right here. Here it is right here. Cryptocurrency is fool's gold. If the world descends into anarchy, it will not be because of COVID-19, racism, world warming, or politics. Instead, it will be because of cryptocurrency. It is a glorified Ponzi scheme. The currency is backed by nothing, neither gold nor any government's full faith and credit, like Uncle Sam's supports it. It is manufactured through what is essentially a video game. There is no accountability. It is a black box. You hear that? There is no accountability. It is a black box. And with celebrities, in other words, a black hole, right? And yes, and with celebrities now touting it in Super Bowl ads and some municipalities embracing it, it has gone mainstream. Though it won't affect me as I am now old and retired, beware. It might be our undoing. And this was put forward by Robert Vivelat out of Champaign, Urbana, right? You know, downstate in Illinois. Now that's the real deal. Okay? You understand? Fool's gold. Okay? Chicago Sun-Times, February 21st. Rising from obscurity, forgotten black composer is heard again in music of the Baroque's compelling the Chevrolet. Now, when they say black, this is him, a portrait of him, right? A drawing of him. He was a person of color, but he's really a Caucasian because his father was a Caucasian, European. His mother was a slave, you know, like a slave. You understand what I'm saying? You follow me? Now check this out. History can be cruel. An accomplished person who deserves to be remembered is sometimes all but forgotten. That was certainly the case with Joseph Boulogne, Chevrolet de Saint-Georges, a multifaceted and prominent 18th century French figure who was at once a champion fencer, vocal abolitionist, military officer, and perhaps most important, master violinist, conductor, and composer. But Boulogne was also black. See, just dealing with the pigmentation. Now check it. He was born in the French Caribbean colony of Guadeloupe, the son of a white plantation owner and his wife's African slave. Okay? And his mixed race goes far in explaining why he unfairly fell into virtual obscurity after his death in 1799. All right? Now, it says, although Boulogne achieved many successes in his life, he nonetheless faced a racially motivated physical attack and state persecution like the Police de Noailles, a 1777 law that blocked entry to France of all people of color and called on those living in France to submit to a kind of census. See, so again, you know, this color thing, you know, Esau, 1777, right? Esau, you understand what I'm saying? You know, it's pigmentation. It ain't got nothing to do with pigmentation. Again, you know, now his mother, you understand, his father's wife's slave, right? She probably Israelite, right? So the fruit of thy body, you know, as I've said before, like in regards to August Wilson, the fruit of thy body. You see what I'm saying? You understand? They still get they catch some flack, right? You understand? Because their mother was Israelite, but their father was something else. You understand? Out of Yephath, right? You know, European, or maybe out of Esau, maybe Edomite. You know, like Louis Farrakhan, and like from what I understand about Berry Gordy. See, but the deal is with them, right? They're Edomite, right? So they can prosper to some degree. You know, just like that Henry Louis Gates. You understand? His father is more like his father's Caucasian. You follow me? I don't know if he's Edomite, but his father's Caucasian. See, he catch some flack because his mother is like, but you are what your father was. You follow what I'm saying? So, you know, the full blunt of the curse on Israel happens to, you know, the descendants of Israel whose father was Israelite. You understand what I'm saying? The full brunt of the curse, right? Chicago Tribune, February 21st. Israeli Prime Minister, emerging Iran nuclear deal to bring more violent Mideast. Now, this is this Naftali Bennett. You understand? Because this JPOCA agreement, you understand, America and the West is getting ready to basically, you know, reaffirm this JPOCA deal that they had with Iran. Right? I think I'm saying the right call letters for it. I don't see it in here. I think I got another article, but it's called, you know, it's this agreement, you know, that the Iranians had with the West about, you know, no nuclear arms, and you know, the West is supposed to be, you know, releasing billions of Iranian funds to Iran, right? And to lift these sanctions to a great degree off of Iran, if not, you know, totally, right? And so this Naftali Bennett, the you know, the millionaire prime minister of Israel, the Edomites over there, right, the hypocrites, he don't like it. He coming out saying it's not good because it's gonna create more violence, because, you understand, the Edomites is threatening to you know, bomb Iran. You understand what I mean? Yeah, that's what they threaten, right? So, and like I said, we waiting on the Edomites to get run out of our land into their land and burn up. Now, that's what we waiting on, right? And according to the one chapter of Bajah, it's got to happen through the house of YHWH, descendants out of Ephraim and Manasseh, right? So-called Palestinians more likely than not wherever they are. Not the ones in the land, because they don't have that kind of firepower, but wherever else they may be, right? It could be why the Edomites dropped that small nuclear device on Lebanon here the other year, right? Chicago Sun-Times, February the 22nd. Johnson scraps England's last COVID restrictions. You know, Boris Johnson. Because you got a lot of these countries not dropping the mandates. You understand what I mean? Sweden never had any. But you got Denmark dropped them. UK dropped them. France dropped them. No, I'm saying. Ireland dropped them. New Zealand, I think New Zealand dropped them. And the Netherlands might have dropped. No, I don't know if the Netherlands dropped them. And Denmark, Sweden, the UK, I think Ireland, maybe Greece. There's been some countries over there in Europe that have dropped the mandates. Matter of fact, because Yoshi and I, we were talking, he said it's like basically these countries with monarchies. Okay? Might have been, matter of fact, the Netherlands. They dropped them. Denmark, Sweden, UK, right? 4, right? Yeah. And also I think Greece and Ireland dropped them too. Okay? So they dropping them. And you know they done got some relief here to a degree, right? But you got a lot of people scared. They still wearing the mask. You know what I mean? Chicago Sun-Times, February 22nd. Canada extends emergency powers for truck protests. See? Again, extends emergency powers for truck protests. The Emergency Act allows authorities to declare certain areas as no-go zones. It also allows police to freeze truckers' personal and corporate bank accounts and compel tow truck companies to haul away vehicles. See? So they you understand? And I don't doubt that they probably took some of them people's money. Okay? You follow me? And I've yet to see that, but I'm not doubting that they took some of them people's money. Don't charge them for what they, what they claim they did, whether they actually, hurt them or not. Okay. Chicago Tribune, February 22nd, England will scrap COVID-19 rules. Prime Minister, end of two of the darkest, grimmest years in peacetime. Right? Also, U.S. Polish troops bracing for influx from Ukraine. You know, people going over into Poland and Finland, whatnot. You understand, running from the problem. But like I said, you watch that Democracy Now! This morning, you'll see this brother. I forget what country he's from, and a person of color, and he's saying how the Ukrainians is being racist towards them. Okay, and letting them lead the country, and how many of them they're allowing to get on these trains and whatnot to escape, because those people came into the Ukraine, to escape violence. Now they running into it in the Ukraine, they trying to escape again, but the Ukrainians is putting, as the brother said this morning, the person of color, very well could be an Israelite, I don't know, but he's saying they being, showing racial inequity towards these people from the continent of so-called Africa. You understand? Like I say, watch that Democracy Now! this morning, 2nd of March. Also, $1.7 billion student loan deal has been big catch. I'm going to read it again. $1.7 billion student loan deal has big catch, right? PAC covered only those in default to predatory lenders. You hear that? Now I'm going to read this and so you get a bead on what they've done. After years of struggling to make payments that hardly put a dent in the loan she took out to attend a now defunct art school, Victoria Linson saw a glimmer of hope. A deal last month between 39 states and Navient, a student lending giant accused of unfairly ensnaring borrowers like her, would wipe away $1.7 billion in private student loans. Then she read the fine print. People like her who made their payments on time were disqualified from the relief. Even though prosecutors said Navient had made predatory loans to hundreds of thousands of borrowers it knew could not afford them, the settlement covered only about 66,000 who were in default. Those who managed to make the payments on their deceptive high-interest debt, mostly to attend for-profit schools that left them with worthless degrees, would just have to keep paying. I was stunned, said Linson, 57, who has sent Navient about $500 every month, sometimes skipping groceries to do it, after graduating from Brooks Institute, a for-profit art school in California that abruptly folded in 2016. Now this is her right here. Let you see her. That's her right there. See there? That's her. Okay? Art student. She been jammed, and it's plenty more just like her, right? She said she was stunned, right? She has struggled to put her degree to use and now works as a digital marketing director in Muncie, Indiana, where her paycheck stretches further. It's incredibly unfair, she said. If you were defrauded by your school, you were defrauded, and your loan should be released whether you've paid on them or not, okay? That's what's going on. Fraud everywhere, huh? Hypocrisy everywhere. Also, blockades over, but Trudeau says emergencies still exist, so they are attacking them people's monies. You understand? That's why he's saying emergencies still exist. Okay? Freezing their bank accounts, going in there taking their money out. However much, if not all of it. Chicago Tribune, February 22nd. Fed keeping an eye on climbing wages prices. Central bank poised to raise interest rates next month amid rising inflation. Now, just before I started doing the session this morning, they had Jerome Powell, up there on Capitol Hill or wherever he was, talking about, you understand, being interviewed and quizzed, right? So, like I said, if they raise interest rates, the bond market gonna collapse. So they can't. If they raise it, it ain't gonna be by much. And again, inflation is 7.5%, if not 15%. They can't raise it nowhere near that. You understand? If you want to cancel out 7.5% inflation, you got to raise the interest rate at least 8%. right? 9%. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no way they can get. They can't even raise it 0.5%. You follow me? That's how the between the rock and the hard place America is, and all these other Western countries. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you, the paper currency is collapsing all over the earth, right? Also, Fidelity. 401k balances set records last year. Wall Street's blockbuster gains in 2021 helped pad savers' retirement accounts, lifting the average balance on some popular investment plans to new highs. Now, I just heard here last week when this Ukraine stuff started, one of the things I saw on RT, but they ain't gonna tell you this on regular news, right? That the 401ks and the pension plans is taking a major hit because stocks been going down, like on the stair steps, not in the chute, but like on a stair step level. Usually they go down in the chute, but they've been taking them down like stair steps, right? So you understand? I heard they took a major hit here the other week. So just keep your eye on it, okay? But like I said, they're not gonna let these people get away with this money that they got saved. They gonna find a way how to take that. If it's not already taken, they just haven't. You know what I'm saying? Just haven't lowered the boom publicly yet. Chicago Sun-Times, February 23rd. Arbery killers guilty of federal hate crime. And that should have been a no-brainer, shouldn't it? I mean, that was a no-brainer. Just like Trayvon Martin, even though, you understand, Zimmerman didn't get, convicted of a hate crime, but that's what it was. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, Sandra Bland, that's what that was with that insignia. Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky, that's what that was, right? Rakia Boyd here in Chicago up here on the west side, that's what that was. All hate crime. You think that boy Savant, who killed Rakia Boyd, pulled his gun shot like over his shoulder at these brothers and this sister at night because he claimed he thought one of them had a gun. You understand what I'm saying? You think he'd have done that to some Caucasians? Huh? Samuel DuBose in Cincinnati, when the campus police, the young Caucasian boy shot him in the head for no reason. That boy Scott, you understand, took off running and the police lowered and shot him in the back. If that person don't have a phone to record it, we'd never known it. That wasn't no hate crime. All these is hate crime. You know, that brother on the highway had his hands up going back to his vehicle, and the Caucasian police woman shot and killed him. That Dante right up there in Minnesota, you think she would have, you understand, shot a Caucasian boy like that? Claiming she thought she was reaching for her taser? I mean, it's all hate crime. Simple as that. They wouldn't do that to any Caucasian. You think that one that killed Philando Castile? Huh? I mean, I think that was insinuating, right? You think he'd have done that to a Caucasian? I tell you, it's just ridiculous. The hypocrisy, right? See, but again, it's the curse when it comes to us. It's the curse that most of our people are totally oblivious to. They done bought the propaganda is because of their skin color. Like I said, that's why you had so many of us, like Sammy Sosa, trying to bleach the dark skin off of them, trying to make themselves another color, pigmentation. It had nothing to do with that. It's the curse, all right, that you see over there in Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 67, right? Same curse that you see that I read earlier, Yeshaya chapter 42. Who gave Jacob, Israel, the nation, to the curse, right? Chicago Tribune, February 23rd. Rents are going through the roof. I told you I had another article about that. Higher prices across U.S. a factor behind the spike in inflation. Now, okay, a new property owner raised the rent on Crystal Guerra's apartment in Miami by $400 per month to $1,950, a 26% increase. That's her here. And she said she had to leave. She couldn't handle it. All right? That's Crystal Guerrero. Now check this out. Crystal Guerrero's Miami apartment has a tiny kitchen, cracked tiles, warped cabinets, no dishwasher, and a hardly any storage space. But for Guerrera, it was all part of being a 32-year-old graduate student in South Florida. She reasoned, and she was happy to live there for a few more years as she finished her marketing degree. That was until a new owner bought the property and told her he was raising the rent from $1,550 to $1,950, a 26% increase that Guerrera said meant her rent would account for the majority of her take-home pay from the University of Miami. I thought that was insane, Guerrera said. You understand? And she decided to move. In the 50 largest U.S. metro areas, median rent rose 19.3%, almost 20%, from December 2020 to December 2021. All right? It says in Miami, where the median rent exploded to $2,850, nearly 50% higher than the previous year. Okay, other cities across Florida, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and the Sun Belt destinations of San Diego, Las Vegas, Austin, Texas, and Memphis, Tennessee, all saw spikes of more than 25% during that time period. Rising rents are an increasing driver of high inflation that has become one of the nation's top economic problems. Labor Department data, which covers existing rents and new listings, shows much smaller increases, but these are picking up. Rental costs are 0.5% in January from December, the Labor Department said last week. It was the biggest increase in 20 years and will likely accelerate. Okay? See? So rents all across the country are getting higher and higher. But people's salaries are not, commensurate with that. They're not getting higher. They're staying the same. Chicago Tribune, February 23rd. Garage doors a nightmare. Supply chain complications frustrating the home building industry as well as buyers. Now, I just told all of you here last year, right? A little small garage door got put in around March, April of last year. Okay? But I ordered it back in like October of 2020. And they put the big garage door in right in November, right around the beginning of November 2020. And I had ordered it back in I think it was around July, August. See, so now they saying getting a garage door is a nightmare. Because you can see, here's a new home here, and they got that plywood up. That's plywood right there that you see there. Not a garage door, it's got plywood. Okay? So they can't use the garage, right? It's not usable because, you need a door that opens up, right? So they're having a hard time, and that's supplies, right? Chicago Sun-Times, February 24th. Trudeau revokes emergency powers after blockades end. So then in the 23rd, I guess, of February, he stopped the emergency powers, right? Says he was removing emergency powers police can use after authorities ended the blockades at the borders and the occupation in Ottawa by truckers and others opposed to COVID-19 restrictions. Trudeau said the threat continues, but the acute emergency that included entrenched occupations has ended. His government invoked the powers last week, and lawmakers affirmed the powers late Monday. The situation is no longer an emergency. Therefore, the federal government will be ending the use of the Emergencies Act. Okay? So they took some of them people's money. Okay? Also, small convoys of truckers begins drive to Washington, D.C. I talked about that earlier. But they were supposed to have been there yesterday for Biden's State of the Union. But what we heard, they didn't get there yet. So they supposed to be on their way, though. Okay? Chicago Tribune, February 24th. Black farmers in fear of foreclosure. Okay? I mean, it's something, man. And here's this brother here. There he is right there. Okay? And they've been jammed up right. Okay? We did an article last year, I think it was last year, or 2020, about them. It hadn't gotten any better. It's gotten worse. Said for Brandon Smith, that's who I just showed you, a fourth-generation cattle rancher from Texas, the $1.9 trillion stimulus package that President Joe Biden signed into law nearly a year ago was long-awaited relief. Little did he know how much longer he would have to wait. The legislation included $4 billion of debt forgiveness for black and other socially disadvantaged farmers, a group that has endured decades of discrimination from banks and the federal government. You hear that? Decades of discrimination. Smith, a black father of 4 who owes about $200,000 in outstanding loans on his ranch, quickly signed and returned documents to the Agriculture Department last year, formally accepting the debt relief. He then purchased more equipment for his ranch, believing that he had been given a financial lifeline. Instead, Smith has fallen deeper into debt. Months after signing the paperwork, he received a notice informing him the federal government intended to accelerate foreclosure on his 46-acre property and cattle if he did not start making payments on the loans he believed he had been forgiven. I trusted the government that we had a deal. That was a wrong move from the get-go, right? And down here at the end of the day, the rug gets pulled out from under me, Smith, 43, said. Black farmers across the nation have yet to see any of Biden's promised relief, while the president has pledged to pursue policies to promote racial equity and correct decades of discrimination. Legal issues have complicated that goal, right? Says last May, the Agriculture Department started sending letters to borrowers who were eligible to have their debt cleared, asking them to sign and return forms confirming their balances. The payments, which also are supposed to cover tax liabilities and fees associated with clearing the debt, were expected to come in phases beginning in June. But the initiative has been stymied amid lawsuits from white farmers and groups representing them that question whether the government could offer debt relief based on race. Now, they've been discriminated for decades based on race. Now, when they try to give them a little equity, now they get counter, sued, you understand, the government gets sued, you understand, these appeals put in by Caucasians, white farmers and cattle ranchers, right, saying it's reverse discrimination. Okay, they've been getting money for decades, right, the Caucasians. Now brothers get a chance to get a little something, and they get supposedly stymied with reverse suits, right? Courts in Florida and Wisconsin have issued preliminary injunctions against the initiative, siding with plaintiffs who argued that the debt relief amounted to discrimination and could therefore be illegal. A class action lawsuit against the USDA is proceeding this year in Texas. The Biden administration has not appealed the injunctions. The legal limbo has created new and unexpected financial strains for black farmers, many of whom have been unable to make investments in their businesses given ongoing uncertainty about their debt loads. It also poses a political problem for Biden, who was propelled to power by black voters. The law was intended to help remedy years of discrimination that non-white farmers have endured, including land theft and the rejection of loan applications by banks and the federal government. The program designated aid to about 15,000 borrowers who received loans directly from the federal government or have their bank loans guaranteed by the USDA. Those eligible included farmers and ranchers who have been subject to racial and ethnic prejudice Let me read that again. Those eligible included farmers and ranchers who have been subject to racial or ethnic prejudice, including those who are Black, Native American, Alaskan Native, Asian American, Pacific Islanders, or Hispanic. After the initiative was rolled out last year, it met swift opposition. Banks were unhappy that the loans would be repaid early, depriving them of interest payments. Groups of white farmers in Illinois, North Dakota, Oregon, and Wisconsin sued the Agricultural Department, arguing that offering debt relief on the basis of skin color is discriminatory, suggesting that a successful black farmer could have his debts cleared while a struggling white farm could go out of business. America First Legal, a group led by the former Trump administration official Stephen Miller, who's a Edomite, filed a lawsuit making a similar argument in Texas. Okay? Now, said last June, before the money started flowing, a federal judge in Florida blocked the program on the basis that it applied strictly on racial grounds, irrespective of any other factor. Okay? Say the black farmers that the Biden administration and Democrats in Congress were trying to help, they got delayed and they was very, very angry, right? They argued the law was poorly written and that the White House is not defending it forcefully enough in court out of fear that a legal defeat could undermine other policies that are predicated on race. Phew, man. Said those concerns became even more pronounced late last year when the government sent thousands of letters to minority farmers who were behind on their loan payments, warning that they faced foreclosure. The letters were sent automatically to any borrowers who were past due on their loans, including about 1/3 of the 15,000 socially disadvantaged farmers who applied for the debt relief. Oh man, it's a mess, ain't it? Says the more than 2,000 minority farmers who receive private loans that are guaranteed by the USDA are not protected by the federal moratorium and could still face foreclosure. Once the moratorium ends, farmers will need to resume making their payments if the debt relief program or an alternative is not in place. There's some more there, but I mean, that's, they set a moratorium, but it's not going to last. They're in trouble. They are in trouble, okay? And not going to get any help. Again, in Israel, under the curse, right? Kind of reminds me of the first chapter, Haggai, right? Also, disastrous wildfires worldwide will get worse. This is a UN report. And why? Because again, the strontium, the barium, the aluminum being, spewed out by these chemtrails that nobody talks about basically, per se, in media. No media talks about it, right? It's making these fires a lot worse. We've talked about that in the past, right? Trapped under the dome, right? Of which Yah can only open those windows, And the only time he's going to open them again is what I told this Caucasian the other week. Yeshaya chapter 24, the fire next time, like James Baldwin's book. It was water the first time, back in the time of Noah. It's fire this next time. That's when y'all going to open the windows to the dome and let out all this toxin and whatnot that's trapped under the dome we're breathing every day, killing off millions and millions and millions and millions of people every year. Chicago Tribune, February 24th. U.S.-China ties still as fraught as ever. Half century after Nixon visit, no way forward found yet. Again, China is hooked up with Russia. They got an agreement. Okay? They've got an agreement, right? Also, crypto scams find a new target. Dating apps. Now check this out. Check out this Asian sister here, right? Now check this out. Her name is Tho Vu, T-H-O-V-U. Tho Vu was tricked by a cryptocurrency scammer she met through a dating app. Okay, the man from the dating app Hinge checked all of Tho Vu's boxes. He was a boyishly handsome architect from China, staying in Maryland on a long-term assignment. They had never met in person. He was still waiting to get his COVID-19 booster shot, he said, but they had texted back and forth for months, and she developed a serious crush. He called her his little sweetheart and told her that he was planning to take her to China to meet his family when the pandemic was over. So when the man who went by the name Zazo Tho Vu, who works in customer service for a security company, that he could help her make money by trading Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. She was intrigued. I heard a lot about crypto in the news, she said. I'm a curious person. And he actually was very knowledgeable about the whole trading process. But the man wasn't trying to help Vu invest her money. He was entrapping her in an increasingly popular type of financial scam, she said, one that combines the age-old allure of romance with the newer temptation of overnight cryptocurrency riches. Isn't that what I read earlier about the old gentleman who said, beware that cryptocurrency? Huh? Scamorama ding dong, right? Ponzi scheme. Check it out. Within weeks, Vu 33 had sent more than $300,000 worth of Bitcoin, nearly her entire life savings, to an address that Zoe had told her was connected to an account on the Hong Kong cryptocurrency exchange. The website looked legitimate, offered 24/7 online customer support, and had even been updated to show Vu's balance changing as the price of Bitcoin rose and fell. Zoe, whose real name could not be verified, had promised her that her crypto investments would help them get married and start a life together. We can make more money on top of OSL and go on a honeymoon, according to a screenshot of their text that Vu shared with the New York Times. But there was no honeymoon and no crypto windfall. Instead of going into an exchange account, Vu's money went into the scammer's digital wallet and he vanished. I thought I knew him, she said. Everything was a lie. Okay? Romance scams, the term for online scams that involve feigning romantic interest to gain a victim's trust, have increased in the pandemic. So have crypto prices, that has made crypto a useful entry point for criminals looking to part victims from their savings. About 56,000 romance scams totaling $139 million in losses were reported to the Federal Trade Commission last year, according to the agency data. That is nearly twice as many reports as the agency received the previous year. Okay? Now, this is, you understand? Game, nothing but game. They got another person in here, Nikki Hutchinson, a 24-year-old social media producer from Tennessee, fell victim to a crypto romance scam last year. She was visiting a friend in California when she matched on Hinge with a man named How, who said he lived nearby and worked in the clothing business. The two continued texting on WhatsApp for more than a month after she returned home. She told How that she was adopted from China. He told her that he was Chinese too, and that he hailed from the same province as her birth family. Hutchinson had just inherited nearly $300,000 from the sale of her childhood home after her mother died. How suggested that she invest the money in cryptocurrency. Eventually, she agreed, sending a small amount of crypto to the wallet address he gave her, which he said was connected to an account on a crypto exchange named ICAC or ICAC. Then, when the money appeared on ICAC's website, she sent more. She couldn't believe how easy it had been to make money just by following Howe's advice. Eventually, when she'd invested her entire savings, she took out a loan and kept investing more. You hear that? She took a loan out. Sound like them people back there in the 20s, right? When you understand, taking loans out to buy stocks, right? Until it collapsed in 29. Like I told you about Groucho Marx, right? You understand? Eventually, when she'd invested her entire savings, she took out a loan and kept investing more. In December, Hutchinson started to get suspicious when she tried to withdraw money from her account. The transaction failed, and a customer service agent for ICAC told her that her account would be frozen unless she paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. You hear that? Taxes on cryptocurrency. Her chat with Ho went silent. I was like, oh God, what have I done? She said. Hutchinson doesn't expect to get her money back, but she hopes that other people will be more cautious about strangers who promise to help them invest in cryptocurrency. You hear all these stories about people becoming millionaires, she said. It just felt like, oh well, Cryptocurrency is the new trend, and I need to get in. Remember that what I read? What the okay? Ponzi scheme, scamorama ding dongs. All right? Okay? Chicago Tribune, February 24th. Buzz on rising hive thefts. Beekeepers turning to GPS cameras, other anti-theft devices to protect bee colonies because people are stealing hives. Okay, I'm telling you, this thing is raw, boy. They stealing beehives to get that honey, right? To make that honey, right? People using honey that they shouldn't be eating bee products anyway. The bee is unclean. We know that, right? Also, the World Health Organization aiming to spread vaccine technology. The World Health Organization is creating a world training center to help poor countries make vaccines, antibodies, and cancer treatments using the messenger RNA technology that has successfully been used to make COVID-19 vaccines. So, you understand? Fooling with people's chromosomes and stuff. Again, like I say, watch that secret intersex. Okay? Also, agency warning about methane. The International Energy Agency said Wednesday that emissions of planet-warming methane from oil, gas, and coal production are significantly higher than governments claim. All right, this is out of Paris. All right, said the countries with the highest emissions are China, Russia, the United States, Iran, and India. Okay, now this thing's a mess, man. A mess. Chicago Sun-Times, February 25th. CDC to significantly ease pandemic mask guidelines Friday. Okay. And again, the 3 ex-cops convicted of civil rights violations in George Floyd's killing. You know, they were convicted too. Civil rights violations. You understand? Up there in Minnesota, right? George Floyd. Chicago Tribune, February 25th. Medication insecurity will be the next public health crisis. Right? Nearly 2 billion people worldwide lack consistent access to the medicines they need to treat diabetes, asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and other life-threatening illnesses. And this chronic obstructive pulmonary disease probably caused by the wearing of masks. Right? You follow me? What's it called? Can't think of it now. You know, I talked about it, right? What you get from wearing that mask. Okay? I tell you, man, you know. And so people is taking these medications for all of this mess, eating this garbage, and they got diabetes and asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Huh? Man, what? So now they can't get medications, which they shouldn't be taking anyway, right? Should be in the herbal kingdom. But you remember that what I read about what Rothschild sent Henry Maycow, right? Huh? You follow me? Say they gonna try to stop all medicinal, herbal medication. Herbal. You understand? They want people dealing with natural medicinal techniques. They want to put everybody in the, in the medical industrial complex with meds, right? Predicated on petrochemicals, right? With side effects. Chicago Tribune, February 25th, over 1.7 million Hondas to be probed for braking problems. Sword on the chariots. Uremia chapter 50. Sword on the chariots, right? And stocks sink as markets reel from Russia's attack. Okay, right? Okay, man. Moderna's vaccine sales jumped 44%. So Fauci and them making plenty of money, right? We finally got that book too, The Real Anthony Fauci, but I haven't had a chance to get into it yet. But I will. Okay? Because I'm finishing up reading Home Wreckers by Aaron Glantz. And in Homebreakers, they got Jamie Dimon. I call him Jamie Dimon, Jamie Dimon of Morgan, Chase, right? JP Morgan Chase, right? They claim he's a Greek. You understand? He Greek. You understand? I don't believe that for 1 minute. You understand what I mean? That's what they claim. Just like they tell you Zelensky is Ukrainian, but he's an Edomite. And I'm sure that's what Jamie Dimon is too. That's my take on it. Now, I mean, that's how I view it. But they in Homebreakers, they say his family was Greek, but these Edomites everywhere. Okay? Again, February 25th, Chicago Tribune, a new Iran nuke deal alarms the Edomites, the Israelis. I told you about that, right? Restoration of pact U.S. pulled out of in 2018 appears close. See, they're going to restore it. It's a big article. I got a lot of stuff marked, man. The Edomites is upset about it, okay? Big time. Big time. All right? JCPOA. JCPOA. That's the name of the pact. Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Okay? And this understand critics led by a former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, you understand? They upset about it. Like this gonna be restored. You understand what I mean? Because they got Trump, he nixed it. But now it looks like it's gonna be put back into effect under the same guidelines. Okay, and they saying why the Israelis are upset. Israeli leaders fear the brief remaining lifespan of the JCPOA will do little to halt Iran in the long run, especially after the technological gains Iran has made in recent years. It remains unclear whether Iran will even have to give up its stockpile of enriched uranium, right? But they also fear that with sanctions eased and billions of dollars in now frozen assets to be released, Iran would spend more on arming and funding its proxies across the region. These include Lebanon's Hezbollah military group, they call it military, and the Hamas and Islamic Jihad groups in the Gaza Strip. Okay? So, say Tehran has signaled it is willing to return to the agreement, nuclear enrichment's red lines, but it wants access to its $7 billion in frozen assets, right? And the ability to sell its oil exports unhindered. Okay? Yeah, because Iran told them they wasn't changing a thing. It was going to either be reinstituted or not. But they wasn't, you understand, changing a thing. Okay? Chicago Sun-Times, February 27th, right? From pretend president to unmovable wartime leader, comedian turned statesman's refusal to flee turns Zelensky into unlikely hero. That's the Edomite. This is him. That's the president of Ukraine. The Edomite, Zelensky. You see that? Comedian. That's who, you understand, America and the NATO allies, that's who they put in power when they couped the elected president in the Ukraine back in 2014 when Obama was president. Right? Say when Vladimir Zelensky was growing up in southeastern Ukraine, his Jewish family spoke Russian, and his father once forbade the younger Zelensky from going abroad to study in Israel. Instead, Zelensky studied law at home. Hear that? Upon graduation, he found a new home in movie acting and comedy, rocketing in the 2010s to become one of Ukraine's top entertainers with the TV series Servant of the People. In it, he portrayed a lovable high school teacher fed up with corrupt politicians who accidentally becomes president. You hear that? So they did a Ronald Reagan, you understand, Donald Trump on the people in the Ukraine. They took a TV personality playing that, you understand, he was, in this movie, you understand, series on TV that he was against corrupt politicians and they made him president and the people went for that. Huh? A character off the TV screen like Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. Can you believe that? That's how silly people are. But that's what happens to your idol worshipers. Huh? Right? You understand? What does it say in chapter 60, Yeshaya? The earth is in darkness and the people of the earth, what? In gross darkness. Right? Chicago Tribune, February 28th. Fence to go up around U.S. Capitol for Biden's speech. Like I said, the convoy didn't make it there. You're right, but they still supposed to be on the way to D.C., the convoy. So they got barriers up in D.C. again, right? Also, gasoline prices. The average U.S. price of a gallon of regular grade gasoline has spiked 10 cents over the last 2 weeks to $3.64 a gallon. And right about the money, too, right? They had an earthquake in Indonesia, okay? And they had major floods in Australia. We saw them on RT, man. It floods, man. Woo! They've wrecked Australia, large parts of Australia. They in big trouble, okay? Chicago Tribune, February 26, J&J distributors finalized $26 billion opioid settlements, majority of money to help states, local governments deal with drug epidemic. Now, you think that money gonna get to the people? They gonna use that money to try to dig themselves out of debt. You follow what I'm saying, okay? They say inflation gauge rises 6.1% from a year ago. But it's more than that. You know it's more than that. Also, cashing in on e-commerce. Israeli company converting passenger jets grounded amid pandemic to cargo plane. So this is what the Edomites is doing. They was passengers, but they didn't turn them into cargo planes, okay? Because passengers not going anywhere. It's blocked, you understand, because of the pandemic. So they gutting these passenger planes, making them cargo planes. Now, that's what the Edomites is doing over there in the land. This is out of Lod, Israel. Okay? I tell you, boy. You understand? It said that Fed moves hiking interest rates. Like I told you, they had Jerome Powell, talking about a 0.5 point interest rate hike. That ain't even gonna make a dent in the inflation at all. Because again, they can't do it. Because it caused the bond market to collapse. Now, check this out. Illinois gets $660 million as part of the opioid settlement with J&J and 3 other companies, right? The money will come from a $26 billion legal settlement announced last year. So Illinois gonna get $760 million. Now you think the people gonna get that? They're gonna use that money to try to dig, you understand, Illinois out of debt. And they billions of dollars in debt. So as a matter of fact, I think it's man, what is it? I can't remember, 100 billion, something like, oh man, it's crazy. So this ain't gonna make a dent, right? But the people not gonna see any of that money. Okay. Chicago Sun-Times, February 25th. Check this out. Lottery then checks. Guaranteed Income Pilot Program will pick 5,000 recipients in April, next month, to get $500 monthly payments. This here in Chicago. See? You follow me? So they're going to pick out 5,000 families to get $500 monthly checks. Right? That's that universal, what they call it? Universal income. Right? Universal basic income program. And they're going to probably be doing this in a few different states where the poverty is so great. The homelessness is so great. Right? They're going to try to stem the tide. They're going to try to keep some of these people living where they living and giving them some food so you just don't have rampant, you understand, homelessness and protests and rampant crime, right? You understand? So with demand for the 500 monthly payments expected to outstrip the 31.5 million in available cash. Chicago will hold a lottery to pick 5,000 participants in what Mayor Lori Lightfoot has touted as the nation's largest universal basic income program. Applications can be submitted as Chicago Gov Cash Pilot. To be eligible, applicants must live in Chicago, be at least 18 years old, have experienced economic hardship related to COVID-19, and have a household income or below 250% of the federal poverty level. That's $55,575 for a family of 4. Okay, you understand? So they got to be 250% below $55,575. I don't even know what that is, man. You know what I mean? I can't compute that. Okay. She said at the news conference, Lightfoot explained why she is certain the number of applicants will far exceed the money budgeted for the program. Today, 18% of our residents live in poverty. 44% live just on the edge of poverty. One job loss and one medical emergency away from financial peril. Over 200,000 Chicagoans live in extreme poverty, meaning their income is less than $6,795 a year, or $13,875 a year for a family of 4. You know, extreme poverty, right? Those are devastating numbers. Imagine that for a moment, and trying to keep a family of 4 fed, clothed, safe, and healthy on roughly $13,800 a year is virtually impossible. Okay? So this is what they got to start doing just to keep rampant crime and whatnot, trying to halfway kind of keep the lid on. Okay? Remember what I said in that first show we did with Mark? You understand? You know, people ain't going to lay down and die because they don't have a job. That means more crime. Crime. People go lack of understanding. They don't understand. And you know what I'm saying? So they just going to do whatever they think they need to do to sustain themselves. That's how bad it's gotten. The first show we did with Mark, right, August 2006, when the Edomites was hewing Lebanon down, Yeshua chapter 33. That's when Yah lifted himself up. Right? That's when he lifted himself up. That's when he started lifting himself up, should I say. Because he's been lifting himself up more and more to this very day. Okay? And those of us who are totally committed and submitted to Yah, those of us who can sit down and objectively look at this book of remembrance, right? Apply the law to this book of remembrance, where we can see what Esau's tampered with. As I said again earlier in this session, I said years ago, we're not going to truly understand and know everything we need to know until we get to Jerusalem. And Yah causes that governor to draw near, just like he did Moshe. See? Just like he did, made things known through David, right? By his spirit, with his, you understand, spirit upon him. That's what we got in the book. You understand? We don't know if, you understand, if Yah sent Natan or Gad to tell David certain things. You understand? We don't know if Yah came to David himself or sent an angel to David to tell him. You understand? Because the book's been attacked. But we see that with Moshe. And again, Micah 7:15, like according to the coming out of Egypt. Again, it's going to have similarities to that. It's going to have similarities to when Yah brought, you understand, the remnant back out of Babylon. But it's not going to be exactly like either one. But it's going to have similarities to both. Okay? Chicago Tribune, March the 1st. Italian city fundraisers to pay retirees rising energy bills. Okay? Italian city fundraisers to pay retirees rising energy bills. Okay? Now this is Luigi Boni, a 96-year-old retiree, reads from a newspaper article about the Adopt a Bill initiative last month in Florence, Italy. Huh? Florence is famed for its contributions to Italian art, architecture, and cuisine. But these days, local leaders in the city, regarded as the birthplace of the Renaissance, are concerned with more mundane matters, paying the bills. Amid soaring energy costs across Europe, hear that? Across Europe, officials at Palazzo Vecchio, the building that serves as Florence City Hall as well as a museum, have teamed up with a local nonprofit to help fixed-income retirees keep their power on through an Adopt a Bill fundraising campaign. Florence is a city where you live well for this reason too. People live very long. Mayor Dario Nardella said. A significant number of Florence's retirees, however, live on less than $10,200 a year and can't afford to make ends meet with an expected 55% increase in home electricity costs and a 42% hike in residential gas bills. Widower Luigi Boni, 96, confirms that. He says that by the end of February, he will have emptied his bank account and spent his monthly pension check of under 600 euros or $680 before covering utilities. Either I eat or I pay the rent. To assist him and others among Florence's estimated 30,000 residents over age 65 and living alone, the city administrations launched a fundraising campaign with the nonprofit Montdomini Foundation, which runs projects aimed at helping the city's retirees. Okay, the campaign raised more than $37,000 in its first few days. See, so again, this is happening all around in different places of the world. All right, that's, you see him there. That's him there, the old gentleman. You know, let me get it straight here. There he is. Luigi Boni, 96. Okay? Now, also, to blunt sanctions, Russia can turn to cryptocurrency. You hear that? Now, you understand? This article's out the New York Times. Now, they're trying to move Russia to do this, okay? Because it's not certain that Russia going to do. They just say what Russia can do, okay? Go to cryptocurrency. But now don't forget, Russia got plenty gas, oil, and natural resources, right? They got plenty gold. You understand? They've been buying gold. They got plenty gold. Don't tell me how much silver they got. You understand what I'm saying? But this article come out of the New York Times. What Russia can do, they can go to cryptocurrency. Because that's what, you understand? That's what Jacob the Rothschild said to Henry Maycon, what I read to all of you twice last year, right? At the end, the beginning of last year, the end of last year, right? What did Rothschild say? The dollar has seen its day. So that means all cryptocurrency, right? Not crypto, but fiat currency, right? So now they want to move everybody into cryptocurrency. You follow me? So now, is this part of the reason why they doing this in the Ukraine? And putting sanctions on Russia, trying to move them to go into cryptocurrency? You follow me? I'll just read you this bottom here. It said, and while cryptocurrency transactions are recorded on the underlying blockchain, making them transparent, new tools developed in Russia can help mask the origin of such transactions. That would allow businesses to trade with Russian entities without detection, so they say. There is a precedent for these kinds of workarounds. Iran and North Korea are among countries that have used digital currencies to mitigate the effects of Western sanctions, a trend that U.S. and United Nations officials have recently observed. Well, if you're observing them, then you must can track them. They not, you understand what I'm saying? I tell you, boy, you understand? Game. And here's the last article, Chicago Tribune, March the 1st, right? Australian floods. A woman carries a baby as people use boats to travel through flooding. Monday in Lismore, Australia. Heavy rain brought record flooding to parts of the country's east coast. 8 people, all from Queensland state, were killed and parts of Brisbane were left underwater. Lismore in New South Wales state is bracing for its worst flooding on record. Okay? See that? Okay. That's in Australia, right? Also, Black History Month. President Joe Biden welcomed black leaders to the White House on Monday for a jovial Black History Month celebration, where he called on Congress to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court and pass voting rights bills. I know progress can be slow and frustrating, Biden said, but I also know what's possible if we work together, if we keep the faith, if we remember changes and charges that are passed down to us. Yeah, since what, 1865? Slow and frustrating, right? Since 1865. You understand what I'm saying? And still waiting. Look at the black farmers. Look at everything. You understand? He talking about just keep the faith, baby. Yeah, right. You understand? That's a joke. All right. The Q&A to follow for Yah righteousness, Jerusalem, and the Holy See. Yah bless everybody. Peace.